In this lesson, I want to do a bit of cleanup in preparation for future lessons. So the first thing that I want to do is consolidate all of our smaller React components back into a single app component. So we're going to do the opposite or reverse of what we did a bunch of lessons ago. Rather than breaking down a component into smaller components, we're going to merge the smaller components back into one. And this is just for practice, really, but it's also a valuable skill to have. Sometimes you need to break things down, and sometimes you need to build things up. There's no single right answer as to the right size of a React component. It's less about lines of code and more about responsibilities. A component should ideally have one responsibility, one reason for existing, and I argue consolidating all of these chunks of JSX back into one app component isn't really hurtful. So let's do that in this lesson. So as a reminder, our app component renders a header component, and then our header component renders a logo, text, and link component. So what I'm going to do is go to those respective components and cut and paste their JSX fragments into the larger parent component that is rendering them. So we'll begin with logo right here. So I'm going to go up here to my logo component, copy this section of JSX. I'm going to exclude that semicolon at the end. So I'm just going to cut that JSX and paste it right here. Next up is our text component right here. So I'm going to cut this paragraph with the text and paste it right here, like so, and add a little bit of indentation just to make it nice and pretty. And then finally, we have our link component, which has the hyperlink. I'm going to cut that, paste that right here. There we go. Maybe indent this a little bit. One common practice is just adding a little indentation for every attribute you have on a separate line and giving it that space. Later on, of course, I'm going to show you how we can format all this much more automatically. That's going to be in the next section of the course. I'm also going to indent this and indent this. That's not technically required, just to give us a nice, pretty look within our header component. Okay, and that allows us to remove our former logo, text, and link components. So I'll clear those. And then we have our header component that is being rendered in app. So I'm going to, once again, cut and paste this entire section of code, paste it right here. And everything is nested here inside of header. So I'll do this and then indent header as well. And that looks fine to me. So then I can remove my former header component, save that, and the app is still working in the browser. I'm going to refresh it just in case, and it's still working. And then the other thing I want to clean up in this lesson is in our index.js file, we added that additional hyperlink right here. You can see it if you scroll down to the page, you'll see that some link right here. That was just for the sake of example, so I could show you the problem with CSS pollution. We no longer need this example. We understand the problem scope and what we're trying to solve, so we can go ahead and remove that hyperlink right here. So now we're left with the starter React application. Okay, so that's all there is to cover in this lesson. In the very next lesson, we're going to introduce another way to do CSS and styling in React, and that is with a CSS in JS library called styled components. So I'll see you there.